Hello, friends. Welcome back to Rose to Row and Astrology. I am your host, Mel Rose, and today is Christmas Day, Wednesday, December 25, 2024. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you are having a very happy and wholesome and feeling loved and supported winter festival. Now, Mrs. Rose and I, we grew up in the United States Midwest. And so we grew up celebrating Christmas. And although we don't think of it as necessarily our religious holiday anymore, it falls so close to the solstice, which we do think of more as our holiday, that we tend to celebrate both. We grew up with Santa Claus and Christmas trees and Christmas lights. And so we love that whole tradition. And we kind of celebrate this whole time of year as just a turning point, right? From the autumn into the winter, and also a turning point toward the days getting longer and being able to look forward to spring and plan for the future. So happy holiday celebration, whatever you're celebrating. Merry Christmas to you all. The sun today is in Capricorn and the moon is in Scorpio. Before I get on with that, go ahead and like the video for me, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. That all helps me out a lot. And if you want to, you can leave a comment down below, say hello to me, ask me anything, and I will respond to you when I see it. Okay, so the sun is in Capricorn and the moon is in Scorpio. And these two are, you can see them there at the top of the chart. They are connected by this short purple line. That is a sextile, and that means it's a cooperative mode, but it also tells us that there is 1 week left until the new moon, until the moon has diminished all the way to the point where we reach that still point where we sit in the darkness and come back to ourselves. So the sun and moon, 1 week till that new moon in Capricorn. Sun in Capricorn is really about our sense of security and the work we're willing to do to achieve that sense of security, our sense of feeling stable, feeling supported, and what we're willing to do to get there. The sun in Capricorn is a very goal-oriented vibe, especially when it comes to our work, social, and civic lives. So if you find yourself sort of turning your attention back to the work that you have to do and the plans that you want to make for the coming months and years, that's what this time of year is about, especially when it comes to the sun, which is our public facing part of our personality. And then the moon is more the private facing part of our personality, and it's in Scorpio. So this is, moon in a water sign is usually it feels pretty good. It feels like we can take care of ourselves emotionally. Scorpio, really invites us to dig deep and sort of clear out any old debris, any attachments, any memories that we're holding on to, or ideals that we're holding on to that are holding us back from making the progress we want in our personal lives and in our creative lives. So that's kind of where we're at with the sun and moon. We're really thinking about and what the plan is for our present and future stability, and at the same time, we're sort of digging deep within ourselves to see what it is that we can let go of personally to make that progress that we seek. So very cooperative vibe between the sun and moon, especially if you're one that doesn't mind going within a little bit and sort of digging out those little roadblocks that you personally entertain, which we all have and which we all entertain. And then you'll see toward the upper right there, underneath the moon, I have that pink triangle there. That is a T square on the chart. It should be pretty clear that you can see it in the chart. Between the moon, Pluto, and Mars retrograde. So Pluto and Mars have been on and off opposing each other for a while. It is a conflicted vibration. It is an assertive vibration. It's a vibration where explosive things may cause permanent change, and we see that all around us in the world. Right? This has not necessarily been a year of peace and good vibes, and we're not heading out of the year on that vibration either, unfortunately. But that's Mars opposite Pluto, and Mars is retrograde right now. So we are really reflecting with Mars retrograde in Leo on, how our actions reflect on us, how our actions make us show up to other people. So it's something to be thinking about. And the fact that the moon is squaring both of those is a very temporary configuration. The moon will only hold that configuration for a few hours during today. But because the moon is in Scorpio, you've got that strategy and you've got that breaking down of things. It's a strategic destruction or deconstruction of things that we feel like are holding us back so that we can get those profound changes in our personal lives, especially and in our creative lives, unblock ourselves, strategically breaking things down so that we can sort of tear down the dam and let the waters flow through, right? The waters of change, the waters that will cleanse and the waters that will clear the path. Okay, and then on the left side, underneath the sun, there's another pink triangle, and this is one that we have been talking about for a while. Remember on the solstice video on the 21st that I gave you, this T-square was part of a grand fixed, a grand mutable trine, not a grand mutable trine, a grand mutable cross. So, what that meant really was that, we had a couple of points of tension and that we have strategies that we can go about keeping that tension from arising into a conflict for ourselves. So this point of tension is at the top there, you see Mercury, and at the bottom you see Jupiter. They're linked by that pink line. That's an opposition between Mercury and Jupiter that we've been hanging out with for a while that says we might tend to overplan or overcommit or get ahead of ourselves, let our plans or our words get ahead of ourselves because we're thinking so big about what we want to be, do, and have for ourselves, especially in the coming year. And the way to sort of mitigate that is written into that T-square, because you've got Saturn squaring both of those planets, and Saturn brings the seriousness. It brings a sense of duty and responsibility. And it asks us, when we're in this mode of being tempted to overplan or overcommit, it asks us to set manageable goals, right? Think about how much you can chew before you bite it off, right? And then also knowing when to call it a night or knowing when to quit, right? And I gave the example of, like, if I'm going to a party, I'm going to tell myself if I'm getting there at 6, I'm leaving at 9. And then I can revise my plan if I want to, if I'm having a great time. But otherwise, I'm just going to stick with the plan. If I'm not having the best time of my life, I'm going to go ahead and leave at 9 and say, hey, that was a good party. I'm done, right? But knowing when to quit is really, it's also a matter of, a lot of us, and I definitely have this, a lot of us grew up with this tendency to try to keep the status quo, maintain the status quo, especially in our private circumstances, but also in our work circumstances. There's a little bit of people pleasing involved in that, right? Like just going around and making sure everybody is happy so that we can feel secure and feel happy, right? And there are boundaries and limitations to that. You can't just give and give and give and everybody's going to be happy about it and you're going to feel happy about it too. Okay, so knowing when it's appropriate to give of yourself, when it's appropriate to step up and maybe offer something that nobody's asking for, and then kind of also realizing when nobody's asking you to step up that you don't necessarily have to do that. Okay, we want to observe some self-control. We want to observe some personal boundary setting when it comes to, like, what is the expectation of me here? And if no expectation is being expressed, what am I actually obligated to do? What do I want to do? And is it really going to be perceived as helpful, right? We want to really make sure, if we're engaging with other people at this time, when we're trying to be helpful, where we're trying to help people sort of expand their idea of what they can be, do, or have, that we don't overdo that too. All right, and then the other shape that we have on the chart today, on the left side of the screen, in the lower left, I guess you'd say, is that smaller triangle. It's just a minor trine. It's not a grand trine between Pluto and Uranus and Neptune. And we've talked about this one before. It is an ongoing thing. These are far out, slow moving planets that have more of an impact on us collectively, generationally. So it's affecting different ages of people at different times in different ways. But what I'm seeing here is That green line is a trine. That means that Pluto and Uranus retrograde are in a state of grace together. They're working very well together. Things are happening, positive things are happening very easily. So that's transformation and change, which we could get into a deeper conversation of the difference and the similarities between transformation and change, right? But I would say, I would just, simplify it at this point to say it takes a lot of changes to go through a transformation, right? So this is transformation and change in a state of grace together. These things are happening very easily. The changes might be transformative, or they might just be simple changes that we have to keep up with. But those things are happening so easily for us that we might not even realize they're happening. And then you've got Neptune at the apex of that triangle. It is sextile to both of those other planets. And so it's in a cooperative vibration. And Neptune is our imagination. Neptune is our spirituality, our sense of connection to the great big all of everything, okay? Neptune is our universal love and regard for everything else that exists. And it's kind of also a principle for dissolving. Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac. And actually, Neptune is in Pisces right now, in the last sign of the zodiac. So it's really right at home. And it is Pisces is a sign for like where things end up, where things go to sort of dissolve and become part of everything, instead of being individuated. It's more just sort of spread out, and everything is together. So Neptune is offering this opportunity for us to really take in the changes that we see happening, to take in the transformations that we see happening, and to be really open and receptive to that, not just on a personal level, but on a collective level, open to the change, the transformations that are coming along with Pluto newly in Aquarius, where we're really looking at what is good for the collective over what is good for the individual or the corporation. And with Uranus and Taurus still shaking up our relationship to the things that we like, love, and can't get enough of, still kind of like saying, do you really feel secure buying this, owning this, having this, or do you really need that thing that you keep trying to get because it's not really coming to you the way that you want, right? So we're encouraged to use our imaginations when it comes to these changes and transformations. We're encouraged to have some faith, look for places to have faith in what's happening with these changes and transformations. And for me, I always say, look, if you don't really feel that you have faith in much of anything, at least have faith in yourself, right? At least know what you can count on yourself to be, do, and have. Okay. Happy Christmas, y'all. I think that's all I have to say about it today. I'm so grateful that you joined me for this today, and I will see you all in the next video on Friday. Bye-bye.